Afternoon, Paulie.
How are we, Dan?
Yeah, really good. How are you?
Yep, doing well. I can't help looking at the reflection of myself and just feel like I'm really morphing into Weird Al Yankovic from the 1980s as my hair continues to get curlier and my mustache grows.
I'm really liking the new look, I gotta say, and I'm hoping that we're sticking with it going into December.
Yeah, well, if I want to remain contactless with my wife, that may be a strong possibility.
I think we got to get a hands up if Paulie should continue on like this, and let's hope Nat's inspired by everyone's desire to want to stick with this look.
The power of numbers. Come on, people, let's do it.
Strength in numbers, I like it. So we just had this chat, Paul and I, off camera, offline, about just waking up knackered, no drive, no desire to commit to our commitment, no kind of wish to continue building that muscle that we've been. How to still continue on, show up, even though you just physically shot, but ultimately like mindset and mentally just bereft of positive energy and self-talk. How to continue showing up. So Paulie, what's been your experience, and also I guess supporting clients who have expressed this? How have you gone about supporting yourself firstly, but also working with hero clients? What's been a helpful way to support that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is a very personal thing. And I know I've had experience where my body's just felt like lead. My limbs have just been like, don't you even dare try and move me, because if you do, I'm going to run away. And sometimes I listen to them because that's just what needs to be done. And sometimes, a little bit of reframing in my own mind can be a really positive thing. I think about my week as a whole, and I think about what I've planned to be able to complete in my week. And a training session at this point in time is what fits into my week structure. And I look back at the week's plan, and instead of saying I have to or I've got to do a training session, I tell myself that I get to do a training session because I've given myself the opportunity to be able to slot one in here. And just that subtle reframe can give me a really, really empowering experience in that moment, there and then, to be able to take action. And more often than not, after I go through that training process, I'll actually have a lot more energy than when I started, and I'll just be humming throughout the day. So it's a tricky thing. Sometimes, you need to just go with your gut and give yourself a little bit of a rest. Maybe, do a little bit more of a feminine, nourishing process, like, sit down and meditate. Or you just go for it. And ultimately, if you sense that your body is not being served in that place and time, and you feel like you might even injure yourself, then you really need to learn how to pull back and understand that taking yourself through a program is not a perfect 100% science. And we're human beings, and we can feel a little bit off at time to time.
Yeah, and while you were just sharing that, I also thought about how if we in a certain way, it doesn't mean the whole day is going to turn out like that. So it just might be that that's how you wake up and that's how you feel. And of course, that's what we were discussing initially. But of course, then, spontaneously and naturally, the day gets moving without anything that we need to do. It just naturally happens, just like time naturally evolves and just continues on. All of a sudden, it's like midday and we're starting to feel a little bit different to how we did when we woke up. And then, things turn into lunch and just things effortlessly keep moving on. And the way that we show up and navigate each moment has changed from what it was in the morning to how it is in the afternoon. So it might mean that what we set out to do in the morning, because of how we felt, means that we just didn't do it. But it doesn't mean we're stuck there. And that means that, we can't just transfer that to an afternoon session or even an evening session, because sometimes energy just kind of ebbs and flows throughout the day. And so really listen to yourself and know that, get our own. We've just got to allow that to be the case. And that's just by showing up one moment at a time and just recognizing that however we feel in the moment when we wake up will naturally change. We can't hold on to the bad just as much as we can't hold on to the good. So we just allow the day to unfold and then just make the decisions based on how we're feeling in each moment. And it's so personal, as you said, and everyone's got practices and strategies that work for them. But for me, I just know as well, like, never to be held hostage by like a timeline of like, it needs to be done here. And that's, if it doesn't happen then, I can't do it. It's so freeing to know that, sometimes we just work better at night. And then the next day it's like, I can't do anything at night. I need to work in the morning. And it's like same with training.
Yeah.
And so it always changes, and it's so nice to be so flexible. And that's why in a program, like you said, it's never perfect, but it's perfect for you.
Yeah.
It's whatever it needs to be, and flexibility is key. As a busy person, it doesn't matter what anyone's doing. We all seem to be busy, and life's unpredictable. But how to just continue managing our situation, our circumstances, our mental state and physical state is all about just that permission to just focus one moment at a time. What's going to serve best?
Yeah, spot on. And look, for me personally, I've found that structure and planning actually subconsciously gives my mind and body an opportunity to prepare for the time. Let's use training as the example, because we've been doing it all talk. Let's say I woke up and I'm going through, I plan my day like I always do, and I say 10:30 is the time that I'm going to be training. I think subconsciously I build energy up to the point of 10:30 where I know that release is going to take place. So it's an interesting process to go through. And for me, and it doesn't always happen, and that's exactly what we've discussed. And that's where you need to have the intuition to be able to say, this isn't serving me right now. Let's know that there's going to be a time later on in the day. So have you got an action plan for our folk back home, Dan?
Yeah, I would say, as you were talking, like, just make a start. Like, you never know how you're going to feel like 100 meters into a run or 5 push-ups into a set of 20 push-ups. Like, all of a sudden, when the body moves, the mind grooves, and like kind of like vice versa. So it's like, you just need to put like one foot in front of the other, and then things just naturally start to evolve. So I guess it's never expect everything to go perfectly, but just knowing that once you start, you just never know what develops from there. So it's more just like, however is in the moment is picked, and if now's not the time to do it, then it might happen at another time. And just give yourself permission to be flexible and free, and just start when it feels natural to start, and then show
Love
up.
it. Yeah, love
Thanks,
it.
Colin.
Thanks, Dan.